Hello there. Have we got people? Hello. Let's get a few thumbs up if we can hear everything that's working and hope to pony Jesus that sign everything's working. Hey, good. So, welcome to this stream. I am Chaos Mouser. I draw horses and more horses and too many horses. I think I have a problem. But this stream will be mostly dedicated to how to draw Metal Gear styled ponies, inspired by the artist Yoji Shinkawa, who worked on both Metal Gear, Left Alive, and the recent Death Stranding, while doing many other things. I will be discussing how to line, the colour techniques that are also used in the process, the magic of overlays, and how much of they are a godsend into making the right effect and like making armor shine with such limited colorings, and of course some shameless plugins, because what's a stream without a shameless plugin? And at the end, hopefully there will be time, a little Q&A on how maybe what you want to ask me. If you want to ask me how to make the little brushes on Sai, or ask me how the weather is, and I'm going to beat you to that because it's actually rather nice. But anyway, let's start off with how, who and what Metal Gear style is. Moving on to this, my amazing PowerPoint I've made on Sai. So, the Metal Gear art style is inspired by a numerous amount of things, such as the art of Frank Miller, numerous Japanese manga artists, who I cannot remember the name of, but it mostly consists with the style of sumi-e, which is a Japanese brush technique explaining on how, rather than painting the image, you capture its spirit. So rather than replicating, let's say, a flower, you paint what the expression of the flower is, so you'd make it more lively with the shading and how big it would be. What Yoji does is he mixes both traditional and digital works within it, and creates these amazing forms of art you see before you. As you can tell from the above images, how his style has changed over time with Metal Gear 1, Metal Gear Peace Walker, I believe that is, Metal Gear 2, more Metal Gear 1 and Left Alive, and how his style has changed over time. His lining is what is known as, how on earth can you do that? Because it's amazing, but also how unique the minimalist lining and usage of colour can create an effect. His work is mostly used in concept art to replicate how a character would look, with expressions, posing, and how they would act, how they feel, regarding back to the sumi-e on how they express themselves. So with good examples is we have Cyborg Ninja here, very menacing with his sword, and the uses of colour being mostly violet, showing he's got a very vibrant yet mysterious dark side, which not many you wouldn't know until further into the game of Metal Gear Solid 1. There he is again. Hey, let's see if you get that reference, 10 points. But yeah. Moving on to the next part, will be on how to draw it. So, to start off, on digital wise, sometimes you can use a skeleton just to briefly understand how a certain pose would work if you're struggling, and sometimes I do use a skeleton that I draw to show how the body is going to look, or do a curve. to see how the body's going to react. Yes, I shall get to you on that in the Q&A. However, I'll quickly jump it in. Yes, you can do this on paper. As I said, Sumi-E is a brush and also a pen format. So it would consist on making a pose and or drawing out what you what's the word? Like drawing out a pose in very minimalist linings. So a good example of this would be this one here. So you'd have you do your partial outlay of how the legs would work with the linear lining, the arm, the posturing, how his armor, his jacket would work, and then the face. It works both on digital and traditional. It does come from understanding how human anatomy works as well, including in how like clothing works as well. So rather than just drawing a nice little jacket, you know, all covered up and all lined up and all nice and fancy, you draw perhaps, let's say, the hood, and then you do the underarm where the creases would be, including the zipper, maybe the like it's got a pocket on it, draw where the pockets would be. It also comes as, oh, nice one, tablet. It decided to close on me. On how, like, where you'd see the light as well. It comes to a lot of lighting. For a first image, who should we draw? Should we draw Applejack or King Sombra? A blue heart for Applejack, because I'm not sure if there's orange hearts. Storm King, okay. Oh, Applejack. King Applebra. You know what? A mixture of Applejack and the Storm King. Or Applejack in Storm King attire. Oh, we've got a Sombra. What do you think? Okay, yes, it's going to be Sombra. Because one, it's armor, and two, I like Sombra. And no one will let me live that down. Sombra's a good boy. He's misled. He's misled. He's a good boy. F in chat for Sombra. F in chat for Sombra. Sombrero! Okay. What I shall do then is get a image of King Sombra as reference, as reference images are very helpful for understanding what the character looks like. So here's our good boy. I did do a test stream yesterday, and we came up with a new name for him because we gave him a mustache and a goatee. I don't know why, but we did that. I can't remember his name now. Lib, I believe you have his name. Anyhow, let's start with the lines. We'll start with a headshot, and then we'll move to a full body. So, yes, Doggo McTashface. I'm gonna call him McTavish because why not? There's multiple ways of doing the Metal Gear style as well. So rather than, some of them include like heavy lining and how the metal plating would work and the facial structure, and some of it is very minimalist, such as the Cyborg Ninja down here with like how the anatomy partially works. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with my magic brush. I will explain that later. I call it my Yoji brush after Yoji Shinkawa, of course. What's important is to have a pressuring system on your pen. It also works on paper with watercolor paintbrushes and pens as well. It depends on how much pressure you're putting on and how thick you want to make the lines, because the thinner or the thicker the lines, it gives it more definition and volume to how the character would look. So let's draw King Sombra looking to the right, because it's very sunny outside on the right. Yes, a bone and a bow tie. Bow for a bow tie. So, starting off, we shall start with his ear. Because I always start off with the ears for some reason. Bone tie? Quick. Someone copyright that. But, yes. So we'll start off with the ear. What I'm about to do is, if I go down slowly, I do apologise if I look like I'm shaking like mad. I'm currently drinking booze to calm my nerves, so yeah. But anyhow, so the starting of the ear, showing the definition of where the ear would fold in on a horse's ear, and then doing it again over here, moving it in. And then using minimalist lines like that. Next would be to start with the muzzle. What I normally do with the muzzle is, rather than drawing a normal muzzle like that, I'll put some eyes there, and there we go. Perfect, done. Stream's over. That's it. We're all done now. It's finding out where the structure of the lines are. So, because King Sombra has his, it's like a face mask or an armor plating on his face. I don't know. It looks cool for whatever it is. In and out, shake it all about. Whatever that song is, I don't know. Then it, whatever. Yeah, so the armor plating for his nose will conject with the normal anatomy of the muzzle. So to combat that would be to do a couple of lines, only slightly letting the pen brush over. I'm going off the season 3? We were introduced to King Sombra. Correct me if I'm wrong. Doing his armor plating sections. So you've got 1, 2, 3, and then curving it off where his mouth would be. So start just brushing it off a little bit. It is okay to keep going over it until you get it right, because trying to find the right posture for his mouth is, well, for any pony's mouth while drawing them is a chore and a half. So that's a good start. Get a nice little curve there, and then slowly move it over again like that. Next would be focusing on the on his little crown area. So that would be going over like that. Whilst, let's just quick zoom. Oh, hello. There we go. So we can see the pointy bits on it. Pointy bit helmet. Almost hurt if you tilt your head the wrong way. By adding a little bit of definition onto them as well. Then it's okay to keep adding, like, if you keep pressuring the pen as well, because what happens is when you pressure the pen, it makes it more thicker, and when you take off that pressure, it makes it thinner. Yes, Amethyst Shade is a bang on the money with that one. Layers! Augurs have layers. Layers are your best friend while making works like this, because then you can move it around and see where you want the posing to be. Layers are your best friend. Sapphire Moon has said it. Vote him. He is the dude we need. So, creating the little gems on side. To give it more of a brush effect as well, is to go over the lines again with the brush and just skim it a little bit. Like add a little bit of effect, and, well, like a little rustic effect. So it's a little bit worn down there, let's say, and there's a little bit of wearing there. I think a little bit on the gem for like a little crystallized mounted version. Oh, the layers, that pain of the layers. Layers are a curse and a burden. However, they are your friend when done right. You have to master them. His horn, again, follows the same manner of the anatomy of the muzzle. It's how you want to reflect the shadow. So like that. You can also connect the pieces of the armor as well. This way. So that gives it more of a blocked effect. You can also use the bucket to fill them in, so it's ready, and then use the brush to just get rid of those tiny lines, just pushing out a little bit. A quick look at the chat. Yep, chat's alright. So yeah, it also goes by the. So you can colour up to the horn as well if you wanted, by adding these like little swerve effects for the shading areas. So because King Sombra has the very dark effect on his armour, you'd have to move it around. Ooh, nearly went again. Yeah, go to make the outer layer of the armour as well to work. Adding little lines as well to the horn. Sorry if I'm going a bit too fast. Also helping aiding that. The hair. Now, with Yoji's work, the hair is a very interesting thing to work on, because as you can see with let's go to the left alive piece here. So it's very blurry. It's very minimalist in the curves and the swirls, while where the shading would be, it gets thicker with the darker lines. And then moving to, let's say, the first image on the side here, it's very blocky and it's very dark, rather than showing the actual effect of the hair. It looks more like it's filled together. Yeah, I can slow down a little bit. For the hair looking a little bit blocky. By 2010, I want to say, Peace Walker came out. Yoji's refinement in his work showed like the mixture of both the blocky and the very linear sections of hair being folded into there. So you'd have, like, if it was frizzy hair, it would be like very open, wide, like very small swishes and flicks. But if it was like more darker toned hair, it would be more solid and focused. And I just pressed the wrong tab. Yes. So because King Sombra has very dark hair, his would be a lot more blocky. So we'll make another layer and show that effect off. So as seen in this piece here, and also this piece, you can see it's very dark. So if we were going to, let's say, oh, wrong one again. There we go. So we'll call this one blocky. This section. So blocky would be using extremely thicker layers for his hair. So curving over one side, making sure it's all dark. You can erase the erase the hair that goes over the lines, or and also looking at the optimacy as well. Yeah, it's trying to get that blend right with the watercolor and the Sharpie. Like you want, because when you want to dye, let's say, lighter hair or make it look more free-flowing, watercolour's really good for that. With Sharpie, it's very blocky and it stands out a lot more, especially with shading as well. So let's say with his hair like that, and curve it over. Making it more flamboyant and fading out. So as you can see, it's making it a lot more free-flowy, yet blocky at the same time for how Sombra's character is. Yeah, moving. So again with the lines with the pressuring as well. By the way, this is done on size, so it depends on how, if you've got a pressure system on the art program you use. So with his hair being very blocky like that. To make it stand out a lot more as well, another technique is to use it. Is to like cut little sections into it, which would allow more like seeing where the shading and like lighting would be in the hair. So let's use let's say we use this area and there's light coming. Well, let's get a nice little colour there. So there's light coming. Nope, there we go. Light coming this way. So you want to give it that more shine effect. Yeah, texturizing, that's the one. Using a brush or pencil on the like not exchange. It's like you could turn your pen into a eraser or use an eraser. So using a normal eraser gives it that effect. It just takes the area out without any positioning. But with a pen, you can do the small effect again with the pressurizing. So press in there, move it in there. Say there's some there down here as well. Press down, and then like doing little curves and like cutting off little sections. Just giving that nice little like shine effect as well, a little rough to the edges because he's an edgy boy. Our dear Sombra. For the more free-flowing, softer approach, one minute, let me find the colour. It's understanding how hair flows. So let's say the wind is flowing this way and it's in his mane and it looks fabulous, so to speak. You'd see how the hair would flow. So because his hair of course flows that way anyway, you just see it just doing little lines. That was a bad line. So doing little lines, just showing how the hair works. I will get on to how you can make this look a lot more like hair rather than little squiggles for for little hairlines. So you got little bits like that. You can put little lines over as well that connect a little with the others. That make it a lot more free flowing. Amethyst shade. How do you do that sharp eraser technique with traditional work on paper? That you can do with a white autocorrector like pen. Like if you get like a white ink pen or a Tipex pen, because you know your Tipex erases all whatever you put over it. If you get like a pen form of that rather than using a brush, it makes a so you can colour in where the light would be, so it would work the same way with the eraser technique, So let's say you've got like a very dark like armor piece, which I'll get onto next. You'll be able to see how that works. Hello there, Stormy. I see you flying there. So finishing off the hair like that. Hello, said Mine Turtle. So yeah. I'm okay for popcorn. Have we got any Cheez-Its? Probably not. But yeah, showing like a minimalist free flow of hair, blowing in the wind. Moving on to the body shaping. Let me make the canvas a little bit bigger. Change size. Width, let's make it 6,000 because that's a good number. And yes, I'm not going to do the meme. Over 9,000. So for shading on the body, when it comes to using the black or any dark effect colour like this, I'm using a very dark grey because black stands out a little bit too much, so I use like a little lighter grey, but black works fine. So rather than like connecting it like that, giving it a very generic look for how under the chin is normally shaded. You have to do like a little line underneath and just do a little wiggle and curve it up a little bit. You can keep messing around to make it look as messy as you want, but as long as it's showing that it's like under the neck, you can see where the lining comes from. Next will be, has anyone got any questions before I jump into the armor system? Intentional messiness, exactly. You make it how you want to make it, because making it into your own style, being inspired by other artists is a really good thing, because then you can expand more from what you've created rather than copying, because you form it into what you want to make it as well. I think that made sense. What's that sound where it goes do 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 do? The more you know thing. So onto the armor. Rather than using my Yoji brush, I'm going to use a pencil because it leaves a lot more stronger lines, as you can see there, as going by the piece here on the Metal Gear Rising art by Yoji Shinkawa. As you can see, the lines are very thick. There's no jittering. There's no like brush effect. And then you can just mess around with how you want to make the armor look. So let's get rid of that and make a new layer. Thick lines are the best. Then again, thin lines work better. But which is better? There's only one way to find out. Copyright strike. Getting onto the armor plating, because Sombra has a very simple, very weird looking neck piece. She got the reference, I didn't have to say it. I am safe from the copyright. Huzzah! But anyway, back to the armor. The armor, you can make it into whatever you want, so we're going to stylize King Sombra's chest piece a little bit. So we'll start off with how it goes up to his neck. It doesn't matter about the little linings here at this point. You can just make the armor how you want to make it. By doing that, you just form it into his armor piece, and then just adding those little layers, and then just doing that. However, now we've got this black formed piece, now we can work on detailing it. And the thing to do with the detailing is go back to your pencil or eraser, whatever you use, and put it onto that transparent button on side, or however you use to make your own stylized eraser brush. And because it has these lines here, we can form those lines by just slowly pressing into it here, get that formation. And it doesn't matter how clean you also want to, despite saying how to make it clean, you can also make it messy as well by giving it a shaded effect. So we'll stop there, and then we'll move it up here again, and then moving that down here, stopping it there so it cuts it off, and going back up here and curving it down, giving that very nice what's the word, ornate look, is that the word? I hope so. Giving it that outline effect. Next would be how to add a little bit more stylization towards it. What I like to use is called I call my Sumi color for Sumi E, adding it's like a very washy color effect, as you can see here. By turning that into a transparent eraser and making it a large brush, you can just push it in a little bit like that, giving it a more weathered effect. If you keep going and form it into its own little subsection, that helps as well, because then it gives it that more faded effect. Again, with how you want to put the where you want to put the armor as well, like layers are helpful, so I can move this up if this looks a bit rubbish. So because I've done that, I can go into magic, do this by selecting it and just scaling it a little bit back, just so it gives it that nice little effect. Yes, using two different brushes, or even more brushes, gives it the effect of how you want to make it look. So you want a fluffy pony to look soft, so you'd use the what I call the Yoji brush. I'll tell you the brush bits and bobs. You can probably see them there. That's what it is. On how to make it. And then, you know, use a normal solid colour for like armour plating and such. Next we'll get on to colour, because this has gone on for 35 minutes. Hey, nice. Colour wise, let's go, rather than doing the solid colour, because solid colour you would essentially select, so you get like a cell pen, or like a, what's that? I'm not sure what the Photoshop alternative is to a select pen, but it essentially, it's like a magic wand, but you can draw with it. So by doing this, like, you can draw with it, like colour, and then, yeah, words. You can make the outline, and then you can click the magic brush and then go inside. A good technique with this is to make it a little bit thinner, and then curve it around and make it how you want, like where the hair is going to flow, because what you're going to do here is you're going to colour it into a solid colour and either go over it with overlayers to give it a shine, or like a multicoloured effect, as with the some of the works that are currently in the Chaos Mauser art commissions channel for reference, and are currently being sold as prints if you would like to buy one. Shameless plug-in early, yay! But anyway, so giving the hair a little bit more of a free flow effect will provide it keeping it a solid base and also making it look loose. So let's zoom in here. Let's make the cell brush a little bit smaller. So like giving that its own little personalized lighting, and then curving that over. It can be, you can make it clean, you can make it messy. It's completely up to you how you want to do it. I do suggest having a go numerous times in it. There's no shame in looking up references on how to do it, because that's how I've had to do it. Like there, like every time I'm drawing one of these, I've always got Google Images up, looking at Yoji's work, seeing how that works, and it's all still experimentation and how you want to draw it. Let's get this like that. Like, it doesn't have to be spotless. Like I say, you can just make it messy. So definitely not a curve like that. Don't make curves like that. That makes it scary. And then flick it over there, and then just curve that in. So now we have a solid base, and we can click up the magic brush, and you can see the interior of it. What I am also going to do is undo that, because there was everything in the way. Have this on a separate layer as well for the colours. Also, if you can find like these little areas, get your cell brush and just colour them in with the cell brush. Make sure everything's filled in, otherwise you're going to have little patches of white everywhere, and that really will ruin your day. You know, just when you click select, you fill it in, and then just when you finish the art, you'll just see that one bit, and it's like, yeah, everyone can see that, and it's great, and I love it so much because it happens all the time because I don't pay attention too much sometimes. But hey, being sleep deprived helps. That was a joke. It does not. So making sure it's got sharp edges. You can also do that there, sharp, and curve that in. What we'll do with this is, what colour should we colour him? Let's do a vote on what colours we should colour him in. What pretty colours shall our edgy horse be? Teal. Okay, we'll go for a nice teal. Purple. Of course, purple. It's always purple. Well, you know what? Teal and purple. You know what? Teal purple with a bit of dark red in it, just to give it that nice effect. That's what we're going to do. We're going crazy. No, that's turquoise. Got a nice teal. Nice teal. Yep, it's a nice teal. So, what to do next is, rather than colouring it in with a full bucket, like making it like that, which you can do, and it makes it look solid, and then you can overlay it. We have rainbow. I mean, we could do rainbow maybe, but we currently got a rainbow of teal, purple, and red. But in another video, if there's ever another one, I probably might link my Picasso, so folks can see that when I do decide to stream. But anyway, what I've done here is making just a little bit of a thick line of colour, leaving some space in some of the areas. What I'm going to do now is get the blur option, maximize it, and just go over it, just like that. So it gives it a more faded effect. You can use the airbrush, but it looks, you can, if you don't blur it right, you can see the, you can see like the blurring effect, and you can see like the lines of where you blurred it. Ah yes, the music, sorry. The music is from Metal Gear Solid 2. It's the sneaking plant theme, which is like really good. Yeah, the colour actually works. Good call out, Stormy. Anyhow, where was I? So we've got next is going so we've got purple. What will be next is now that we've got this. Pardon me, I do apologise for that. Is the overlay. Now, this is where it gets funky. So brace your seats. This is gonna get haywire and stuff. Overlays are what is known as the godsend of shading for this. 15 minutes, Roger Dodger, got that. What overlays do is applies somewhat of a colour effect. However, it's not working on this colour. Let's try this. Okay, so that's not going to work, so we're going to use... Yeah, some colours don't precisely work with like fading effects. It's a lot of experimentation on seeing how would you see it and everything. So like the key ones are overlay, shade, luminize shade, and luminosity. These are a lifesaver when it comes to getting colours right and making it look good. You can see the purple gives it a more vibrant effect, and you can use it as a shading effect as well. As you can see, there's it looks like a very heated purple here, which gives it a toning effect. And then you use the blur again to fade it out, make sure it fades over into the little areas that you want it to go. I mean, you can sleep in it, but it's not very comfortable. It's because it's on a screen. Yeah. I mean, I can send it over to you, but that probably won't work. Hang on a minute, this is very aesthetic. Darn it, it's aesthetically pleasing. How dare you choose those colours? But they're very good colours. So yes. Making the overlay with a luminized shade gives it more of a toned effect. What will be next is on how to add its own definition. And to add definition to it is the usage of, again, the cell pen. And what the cell pen does is, again, selects where you want it to be coloured in for. So we'll go for here. We'll go for... oh no, that just did that. I forgot it's not... doesn't connect it like that. And you know what? We'll colour in the armour plating on his face as well. We'll curve that over there, go in there, and making sure it all connects the dots. Or also make a new layer as well when you do that. That is a very helpful thing. Yes, endless practice for this is a lifesaver. Yes. I've been doing a bit of Yoji stuff since first year of uni, for about nearly 3 years, but it's been on and off. It's only recently now I've begun to take it on a lot more and draw it. So I'm just getting a little more of those editing effects for what the bald hair showed. So I'll curve it over like that, little sections like that. This is also using the eraser section on the cell pen, so you can add like these on little effects, make it how you want to make it look. Now, dark red, we were told dark red, so here is dark red. Now to fill them in with the dark red. Ooh, wow, those colours actually work. Who was that who said dark red? Who were you? I've lost who you were. Shout your name out if you're the one who said red, said dark red. You have chosen an excellent colour, sir. Or madam. So, Next would be how you want to make it look. So if you want it to make it look shiny, oh, 1 minute, we're missing some. We're missing some. Thank you, Morgan. You chose the correct colour, kind sir. Where are we? Okay, we've got 14 minutes. So we can either choose luminosity shade or luminized shade. Luminized shade will give it a very more vibrant colour. Shade will give it that more dark effect. Ooh, that actually kind of looks nice. We might come back to that. Luminosity gives it that more pale faded effect, which, ooh, oh, I don't know. It's contesting. It's contesting. Or go back to the overlay one, which actually that looks very calming. No, we'll stick with overlay, because we failed with overlay before, so we're going to do overlay again. So that helps with defining like armor pieces that don't require such a thick darkness as the armor plating here. Now is my favourite part, backgrounds. Oh wait, no, I've forgotten the eye. The eye is the most important part of this. The eyes. So, Yoji Shinkawa eyes are what are known as the holy relic, because it's either through blocky shading, again like with the hair, thinly cut with eyelashes, or hyperrealism through robotics, such as the Metal Gear Rising piece here. We're gonna go for the... oh, no, they're very blurry, these photos. We're gonna go for the soft... we're gonna go for that soft, delicate lining for how the eyes work. Oh, no, wrong one again. The definition, like the defining areas of the eyes... is the key element in Yoji Shinkawa's work, because even with the posing, the eyes tell a lot more rather than anything else. So because King Sombra is such a menacing foe, you want his eyes to be more determined and fearful. So by doing that, just do that. I'm literally not joking when I say do that, because that gives you a base to work for the eyes from. Because what you want to do is you want to round it and make the eyelashes more defining, including the eyebrow. So because King Sombra has a very menacing curvature eyes, his eyes will be, again, curvature and more effective. So you got the eyelashes, like curving around, giving it a more curved look. You can also add a little bit more there, and then adding where the eyeliner catches up with itself, like that. Oh, no, that's the wrong way. And like that. Next will be the adding of the iris and the pupil. It depends on how you want to do it, because in some of the works it is it can just be let's see, put the eyebrow there, like that. So, like, depending on how where the light is coming from as well, because the shading would hide the eye, so you could do a very blackened effect there, and then correct that with a with the white, which I'll show soon, like that. And you can add outer layers like that, or we'll go with a more realistic looking eye. So you have the eye, iris, pupil, how it all connects, little dashes for how it forms, like that. Can add a little bit more darkness into the overshadow. 5 minutes. Okie dokie. So like that. What I shall do next is quickly show how to do the do his little colouring of his eyes. So by doing that, you'd get a watercolour brush, form that inside. Oh no, don't do that. Form that inside, do the fade it in like that, and then wash it out. Do a little bit more colour there, fade that in, curve that in, and whoosh like that. Oh, that failed. Next is the best part, which is the white lining, which when I do it on physical paper, it just goes and that's how it works. With this, you essentially just have to... It doesn't really matter because you just smack the lines everywhere, like that. It doesn't matter where it goes because it cuts it up and it gives it that more jittery, rugged look. Focusing on the eyes as well, you can add it into the white there. You can add it there, there. Again with the lining here. Focusing like that. If you want to, you make sure it's not too brightish like that. If you go into airbrush and making it more, you know, using an eraser function on it, you can fade them out a little bit so it doesn't look too flamboyant, if that's the word. Backgrounds. Again, I highly recommend looking at how Yoji does his backgrounds. Because it does, some of it forms into doing the same as this, but using black boxes. However, I am going to use a dark purple here and make a box like this. It's the same for when I did the body, and form it out like that. Use shade and fade it out, such as that. Oh, thank you, Benz Fisher. Thank you. Yes, I highly recommend looking at how Yoji Shinkawa does his works. I can leave a link to a video that explains it a lot more than I can. But yeah, try it out for yourself and see how it works. We have 2 minutes for questions, if there's any that I've missed out on, if you'd like to discuss. If there's any more questions, feel free to DM me or message me in... trying to find a place where we can chat. Maybe in the vendors area. Or just DM me. Yeah, just DM me if you've got any more questions on it, and I can drop links in as well. But yeah, that's how to draw MLP ponies in the style of Metal Gear.